In March 11, 2016, before the release of Batman vs Superman, Chris Terrio was interviewed by the Wall Street Journal, and he went on to saying, Batman vs Superman is a bit of an Empire Strikes Back or Two Towers or any similar middle film in a trilogy. The middle film tends to be the darkest one. I do think from Man of Steel through Justice League it is one saga really. I expect Justice League will be tonally not quite as dark as Batman vs Superman. From that point of view, I felt compelled to go back and try to lift us and myself into a different tonal place, because I think when you write a darker film, sometimes you want to redeem it all a bit. Right, so what happened with the 2017 version? Since it was always the plan, make a lighter movie with Justice League. So it's kind of weird that Warner Brothers meddled with that movie so much. Studio execs messing with an artistic vision, and we ended up with 2017's version of Justice League. But anyway, it's like, thanks to Shiraz Faruqi of the comic book debate team and his brothers, the Faruqi bros, I got to see Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I have to say, reading that quote by Chris Terrio, I'm not really surprised like many other people like that. Zack Snyder's Justice League is lighter in tone than Batman vs Superman, since it was always the plan. Anyway, I have to say I liked it. Like from my initial view, I liked it. There are points where you're like, okay, I've seen this. But overall, it's like you get to stick with the characters and you actually see a lot of them grow. Like go from point A to B to C and so on. So that was quite nice. With the whole 4-hour runtime, he actually makes use of that. You don't really realize how much time has gone by while you're watching it. So everything flows quite well, and like I said, I liked it. I was kind of worried maybe I won't like the movie. Like mostly because I've seen the 2017 version, like how much, even though from the trailers you could tell there's so much difference, but there's also quite a few similarities. And as I was watching it, there's a few similarities, and I was like, oh, okay, I've seen this, but now I'm seeing an expanded version of it. Obviously, Ray Fisher's the heart of the movie, and his story compared to the 2017 version is like he didn't have a presence in the 2017 version, and right now he's literally one of the main figures of the entire story. So that was very awesome to finally see his portrayal. And I have to say, it's like I liked it. There was a few scenes with him, like majority of his scenes, you'd get quite emotional. They actually pull at your heartstrings, and then the other major character that I was really looking forward to, and I was kind of very disappointed with in the 2017 version, was Steppenwolf. It was like mostly Cyborg and Steppenwolf that were my major disappointments. I had major problems with the overall movie, but it's like, I've watched that movie once, the 2017 version, and that was it. I'm like, I'm never going back. Although I hated it so much, it was still ingrained in my memory. I would literally remember each scene, which was very annoying. So, I'm finally getting to watch the Snyder Cut. These two characters have been redeemed, because the stuff Snyder and his team, they did with Steppenwolf's character, I'm like, I really want more of him. He opens up the fourth world, Jack Kirby's fourth world, and I want to see more of him. I don't feel like we got what we saw was enough, but I wouldn't mind if they did a prequel comic or a animated series with Steppenwolf, and they bring back Kyron Hines to voice him. He's more of a tragic villain. He's a villain through and through, but where he is in the story is sort of tragic. It's like you don't understand his point of view, but you get his emotions, and I'm not sure how you put into words. He just wants to go back home. Like Steppenwolf just wants to go back home, and he can't, and he owes Darkseid tributes, 50,000 more planets, because of something he did in the past. Like, I'm guessing he probably tried to overthrow Darkseid when he was in a weakened state during the history lesson. Like, those Shakespearean tragic tales, sort of, where one guy tries to betray the king being Darkseid, and now he has to redeem himself in the eyes of the king to come back home. And I was like, okay, that's a very intriguing place to go with, and that really made me like Steppenwolf more. Plus, compared to the 2017 version, this Steppenwolf is actually a threat, because I remember when I watched the 2017 version, it's like, I hated the fact that Superman beat him so easily. So yes, I know he's still Superman, but I still expected some form of struggle. Like, I never felt like there was a reason for them to bring back Superman. But in this version, you're like, okay, they're all actually sort of struggling. There's a reason why they're like, we need Superman. Plus, throughout the entire movie, when they bring in, like, Flash, for instance, he says, I feel like we need Superman. I miss Superman. Like, he even says, I'm not sure if they say it in the 2017 version, but It's like, I don't think they do, but he goes, yeah, he was my hero. So you're like, Batman vs Superman, Clark was so alone because he's seeing all this negativity from the media. The media amplifies the negativity and everyone's against him, everyone hates him, judging his every action and trying to make it seem what it's not. And then you have Flash somewhere out there in the world, like Barry Allen, who actually looks up to him. Like Chris Terrio said in the interviews, like he wanted to redeem and bring us back out from the darkness, right? And Clark didn't know there are people out there who are looking up to him. So it's just kind of even more sad for Clark that he thought the world hated him. And yes, he had Lois, he had Martha, but it was awesome finding out there are characters who look up to him, and it gives another point of view because now we're seeing the rest of the world's reaction to Superman through the eyes of Barry Allen and Arthur Curry, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman. But now it's just that Clark didn't know all this. Like I said, it elevates BVS more since that was the darkest movie within that trilogy. And it's just so weird that the studio decided to take that line out. Chris Terrio did so much through one line of that movie than that entire movie did, the 2017 version. And a lot of people have been saying that it feels like a graphic novel. Yes, it does feel like a graphic novel, especially that final battle. Like, just from Steppenwolf alone. Like, his armor, it's just like, wow, the fact that the VFX team worked for the last 7 to 8 months during a pandemic, my days, this is just phenomenal. Like, there was certain scenes, like when Steppenwolf's fighting the Amazons, they are shooting arrows at him. His armor just catches it. And that was such a small and cool detail, and you're like, wow, okay, there was more of a reason why his armor was designed the way it was. And honestly, it's like, I like this movie. It was pretty well done. It was just annoying that this isn't the version we saw. They rewrote, reshot. And yes, I know we would have gotten a shorter version of it like in 2017, but even that shorter version would have been much better than the one we actually got. Like, I could go on and on, like how much this movie improves upon the previous version. And I just wanted to give my initial thoughts after I've seen it. Martian Manhunter. I loved his design. I'm so glad we finally get to see him. Obviously, like Harry Lennox voicing him, just perfect. After seeing the overall movie as well, I'm like, oh, damn it. Why wasn't he the one recruiting the whole league? Although I do like the fact that Batman's doing it, Seven Samurai sort of. But then, it's like Martian Manhunter is sort of bringing Lois back into the world. Then he goes to meet Bruce. Imagine if he was the one who brought the team together. That would have been a very interesting angle. And I know originally they had the plans that Green Lanterns would go to Bruce Wayne at the end of the movie. And since they can't do that now, they chose Martian Manhunter, which I think is perfect. And Darkseid. Who thought removing Darkseid was a good idea? Like, I understand they didn't want to set up any sequels or anything. There's so many financial opportunities by bringing in Darkseid. The merchandise they could have produced, anticipation they could have built up, and that movie probably would have made more money if people knew. It's like after the first week, people knew Darkseid is in this movie. Go see it. Ray Porter as Darkseid was amazing. The way he just voiced him and some of the lines he said. A large chunk of his lines were in the trailer to get us all hyped. But even in context, you're like, oh my day, why would they take this out? It's just amazing how dumb it was. Like, it's such a dumb decision to take Darkseid out of the movie. Like, you literally like I said, they would have built more hype for the 2017 version if they kept him in. They still teased a sequel with the 2017 version, that Injustice League. And it's not like they followed through with it. So why would you not tease Darkseid and possibly make more money? Plus, it's like we would have gotten Darkseid and Thanos around the same time. And as a fan, it's super annoying that we didn't. That time, 2017, 2018, 19, it would have felt like, you're in a candy store as a little kid and you don't know which one to pick, and you want all of them. Zack's movie sort of built the hype back up again for DC. Like, the hype was always there. After the 2017 version of the movie, everyone has to agree that the hype kind of died down. Hopefully the entire DC fandom won't be as divided. There's certain decisions in the movie that I wasn't a fan of, obviously. I will admit that. But overall, I loved the movie. A majority of the storytelling wasn't undercut by comedic joke. It works for Marvel, but it doesn't work for DC, and it could work for DC, but I don't need that. Like, I like what Marvel is doing, and now I just want whatever DC is doing. So you get this, variation of stuff. I just want to be a kid at a candy store with all these variation of sweets. Like, it's just great to see Jack Kirby's, storylines on the screen. Like, it's like the little hints of story elements from Steppenwolf's backstory. His relation with Desart and how they're sort of antagonized between each other. They're trying to earn Darkseid's favor. Like, those little hints, it's just like little teasers of more they could do. It's like, I really hope we get a prequel, if it's possible. Like, plus, I love this unintentional Easter egg or homage to. I'm sure they might have been thinking, and I'm sure someone else has said this beforehand, and this is probably not what they were aiming for, or they were. I don't know, like Chris Terrio and Zack Snyder, but it's like 1978 version of Superman. He rewinds time to avert disaster and save Lois. So in this movie, it makes sense that Flash is reversing time to avert disaster and save everyone. It's like, I know, it's so simple. It's just a coincidence. But it just makes more sense to do it with Flash. He says the whole line, Superman was his hero. So it's like, there's just so many things wrong with that 2017 version. I'm just so glad. It's like we've got Zack Snyder's Justice League. I went in hoping it would be better than the 2017 version. It was better than the 2017 version. Right now, and the way the story ended, if it was not to continue, I'm perfectly okay with that. It feels like it ended well. It kind of appeased me as well. Like, I can get rid of that 2017 version. Like, this is how his story ended. If this is the last time I saw him as his absolute best. I can finally move on. If he does return, everything now is just additional stuff. Like, it's more. That would be awesome. But I'm more content now. But anyway, I'm probably going to do an actual new drawing, since this is an old drawing, sort of updated. I did say when I did this original drawing that I will be updating it with Green Lantern or Martian Manhunter when we see him. So it's kind of a new drawing, but not really. Doing a new one once I'm free, like once I have more time. This is only me talking about it after I've initially seen it. There's so much more to talk about and say with this movie. If you like what you've seen, like and subscribe. Comment below if you've seen the movie, what you've liked, what you haven't liked. And thank you so much for watching, guys.